What up, squad? It's the brother AJ here, back with another one of those classic Prince thoughts. This is episode number 13. Today is actually April 21st, 2025. That means it's 9 years since Prince has passed away. So before we do anything, we want to take this and throw back a shot for my man who has revolutionized a lot of our lives. A little bit of Harlem Reserve there. So why do I want to talk to you today? Last month, March 31st to be exact, would have been 38 years since Prince released Sign of the Times. And I think it's only fitting that we talk about that project, Sign of the Times. I've spoken about the movie, spoken about the record, but I really would like to talk to you about that project. My vinyl is out in the live room. Here's my Sign of the Times CD. Okay, it's a double CD. I ain't gonna pull it out. Okay, but more importantly, the estate released the Sign of the Times Deluxe Project, and this was spectacular. Okay, the Deluxe Project came in this beautiful binder and had this wonderful book, but more importantly, that bad boy it's 8, look at that, 8 CDs. So 2 of the original project, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are like unreleased material or stuff that we've heard that we just haven't had a chance to get it in one collection. And then 2 is a live recording of, I believe, the Sign of the Times. Part of me want to say Purple Rain. So 2 is live recordings when they were out touring. So it was beautiful that you get to hear that stuff. But then what they also gave you is wow, it's in here somewhere. There it is. You also get a DVD. There's a nice little DVD of Sign of the Times, that movie. But we don't want to talk about the Deluxe Project. We actually want to talk about the original double vinyl album that he released back in 1987. And I want to tell you why I love this project so much. I had to write some notes because I couldn't remember everything I wanted to say. So let's get into it. Prince released his seminal album, Sign of the Times, 38 years ago on March 31st, 1987. It was a double LP, and it was his 9th studio album. He released it on Paisley Park Records in conjunction with Warner Brothers. The album was preceded by Parade, and he had just let go of his backing band, The Revolution. The only member of the band that he retained was the keyboardist, Matt the Dr. Fink. So that turned Sign of the Times, in essence, into a Prince solo project, because he had got rid of the Revolution after he finished up Parade, and which was a shock to all of us because we thought it was Prince and the Revolution. They was going to roll forever. So then he kind of went into himself to do Sign of the Times. He was also finishing up his Paisley Park complex, which would become the future home base for all of his multi-pronged projects. That would be music, fashion, movies, and the soundstage, allowing him the ability to do concerts. The material from the Sign of the Times project was sourced from multiple projects that were slated to be separate albums. That would have been The Dream Factory, Crystal Ball, and Camille. And Camille represented his female alter ego, which he created by speeding up his voice on tape to make it even higher. Those projects were all scrapped in favor of Sign of the Times Although the Crystal Ball Project, it was released in 1998. And it was released as either a triple, a quadruple, or a 5-disc album, depending on which configuration you purchased. When he released Sign of the Times, it was number 6 on the Billboard 200, and it was certified platinum 4 months after it was released. The singles, Sign of the Times, You Got the Look, and I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man, were Billboard Hot 100 top 10 hits. I want to take you on a journey song by song through my eyes and show you why I love this project so much, and you can see why this became my favorite Prince album of all time. That's right, you heard it here. Sign of the Times, out of all the albums that Prince has dropped, is your boy's favorite album of all time. Okay? Don't believe me? Let me take you through it song by song. Sign of the Times is the opening title track. It's a sparse funk arrangement with a hypnotic drum beat. And right from the opening kick drum, you can already sense the sense of urgency this album was going to deliver. Instead of his classic, heavily electronic Lindrum sounds, this had a much more natural and real drum kit sound with a thumping low end. The throbbing bass line was the glue that held it all together, and the guitar spits in and out, adding color and texture until it speaks strongly further along into the song. The lyrical content spoke about the blighted world conditions as Prince fired shot after shot into the deep dark abyss, commenting on the condemnation of man. This was a socially conscious song that we all could get behind because we were living his message out in real time. That's how we felt Sign of the Times when we heard that song hit the airwaves. Next is Play in the Sunshine. It's a classic Prince rockabilly. We've heard that sound from him before. You've heard that sound in songs like Delirious or in Jack You Off. You got that nice honky-tonk piano, and it complements his electric guitar work, as well as the assorted backing vocals from his band. Because yes, even though he got rid of the Revolution, he still needed a band to perform, so he had a cast of characters who helped him deliver this. And don't sleep, the Revolution probably was on a couple of these songs that he brought forward with him to put on this project. There is a slight breakdown as he calls on the drummer, and he says, "Drummer, drummer, do your thing! Drummer, drummer, do your thing!" And that adds some momentum near the end of the song before the track begins to fade away. Then Housequake pops up, and it is one of my favorite Prince Funk Jam workouts, as he can churn out songs like this in his sleep that will get you rocking. It definitely has that old school James Brown flavor to it, as he guides all of us through the tune. The heavy kick drum and the rolling bass line dominate the song with their syncopated rhythms, keeping your neck a-snapping. It's basically a song about a dance that Prince is teaching us. He says, "We're gonna show you what to do. You put your foot down on the 2, you jump up on the 1, and now you're having fun. You're doing oh, the housequake. Oh, questions? Does anybody know about the quake?" Love that track. But the groove is so funky, and you're jamming along to these horn stabs. He does this nice chicken scratch guitar. You got this synth that wails along, and then his sped up Camille style vocals just make this song a smash. And this song has a story behind it. This song is the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. Those of you who don't know, let me enlighten you. Prince had just had the recording console delivered to his home studio. Susan Rogers was a technician, and she was setting it up for him. Prince was ever eager to record, and he asked her to engineer the sessions because he was chomping at the bit to try to bore it out. She was like, yo, Prince, I'm not an engineer. I'm a technician. I guess he kind of gave it a look. And if she could fix the board, I guess he figured, if you can fix it, you must know how it works, so go ahead and do it. So who could tell Prince no? So now they're recording this song, and she's freaking out as she realized something is wrong because the board has no high end. Apparently, some components need to be replaced, which in her eyes made this a bad session, and she was sure she was going to be fired. Prince disregards this fact, and he recorded the song anyway, and that's why it has an almost dull, unpolished sound to it, because it's lacking all those highs that you would hear on a normal track. He simply heard that, and he used it to his advantage. The avant-garde, overlapping lyrics take you on a trance-like journey as you're trying to make sense of why you love this song in spite of its quirky-ass content. Peep these lyrics. Dorothy was a waitress on the promenade. She worked the night shift. Dishwater blonde, tall and fine. She got a lot of tips. Well, the hell does that mean? But his unique vocals on this track are quite refreshing because he's singing in a strange register that sink in behind the strange drum groove, making things all the more intriguing. That's a song that me and my son love. So if you ever want to see us rock out, ask us to sing Dorothy Parker for you. That's our jam. Sidebar note number 1. Remember I spoke about the non-engineer, the technician, Miss Susan Rogers, who he was really like just meeting? Well, in spite of her not being an engineer, she ended up being one of his go-to engineers on many Prince records going forward into the future. So go figure. Prince had a knack of meeting you where you're at and seeing in you what you did not see in yourself, as he gave you the opportunity to exceed your wildest dreams in your life, much as he himself had done. And if you have the double vinyl LP, this would be the end of side 1, and you'd have to flip the record over. Side 2 would open up with a track called It. And it's probably the sparsest song from an instrument arrangement perspective. It's literally just a showcase for Prince pleading with gospel preacher-like call and response vocals over a looping drum beat with minimal bass and a piano motif and some string hits with a little bit of solo guitar. I mean, like, that's it. Like most songs on this record, they were stripped down bare, allowing him to make bold choices and how he delivered them. Now remember, coming out of Parade and the albums preceding that, they were becoming more and more lush, and he was stripping all that back and trying to get, I believe, back to the bare essence of a song. After It is another song that has a great story, and that song is Starfish and Coffee. And I don't mean story because of the lyrics, I mean the story behind the song. Check this one out. So at this time, Prince was around a set of twin sisters. One of the twins was Wendy Melvoin, who played guitar in the Revolution. And her twin sister, Susanna Melvoin, Prince eventually got engaged to. He was actually going to marry her. Well, they were sitting around and they were telling Prince stories about their special classmate from elementary school. And Prince was literally sketching out what they were saying to him, and he was soaking it all in. Then he went down into the studio and came back with this gem of a song. It has a repetitive piano riff accompanied by a drum loop featuring a slick backward snare drum sound. And that powers the groove along. And I don't even believe there's a guitar in this track. Maybe like at the very end, there may be a little bit of a guitar being played, because it's basically driven by the story he's telling vocally. And he draws you in with this perspective because it's a positive, upbeat, trippy love vibe. And you can't help but get drawn into the story of Starfish and Coffee. We finally get to our first ballad. The name of that ballad is Slow Love. And it's a different kind of a Prince ballad because in addition to some of the stellar horn work, he was starting to lean away from his Minneapolis heavy synth sound from his earlier years. When we talk about that Minneapolis sound, it was the fact that when Prince first broke into the scene, he didn't have horn sections. He was using synthesizers to create what he would hear to make it his horn section. And so as he got further into his career, he started putting the synthesizers away and he started using real live horns. And you really hear this on Sign of the Times, super prevalent. This song, although written in 4/4 time, it almost sounds like a 3/4 waltz that has that kind of lilting, offbeat flow. And the longtime sax player, Mr. Eric Leeds, said Prince would either play the horn parts he heard in his head on the guitar and the keyboards, or he'd even hum it to them out loud to the horn section. Then those cats would turn around and transcribe those parts into a horn chart and then bring them to life on the record that you hear. And listen to his vocal skills, as Prince was an underrated soul crooner. He breaks down why they need to take their time to make sure they're making slow love. This way, you can feel every single moment you're together. Then, this banger comes on, and from the opening salvo of the song, it got my full attention. The name of that track is called Hot Thing. Just like Sign of the Time, it's one of the heaviest sounding songs on the project. It has this oppressive drum beat, this rumbling bass line, and a twangy synth riff that is just relentless. It just keeps coming. It just keeps coming and coming. He breaks it up with these crispy, high-pitched cymbal crashes that catch your ears, snapping you back into reality. And then he uses his piercing, pleading, begging voice as he takes you on a lustful tale of longing about a hot thing. He also makes tasty use of the horn hits that supplement a sax solo, adding to the depth and dimension of this track. One of my fave tunes. I love Hot Thing. And next up is Forever in My Life. It's another spiritual tone of longing. Clearly, he was at a crossroads in his own life as he was now marrying his spirituality in the music, but he was bringing it up to the surface rather than burying it way down into the mix. And he was back at it with that classic Lindrum hypnotic sound as he's pulling you deeply into the groove. Then he uses the old school around singing style. What's around? You know what around is. You know that classic song, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. So you would say row, row, row. The next person would say row, row. So that it would almost be like echoing and looping upon itself. That's what around is. And he did that incredibly with this song. And the way he did it, as the vocals would loop around itself in that call and response refrain, you would answer yourself as well as introduce the next lyrics in the next verse. The lyrics themselves are compelling, they're poignant, and he's pleading for your soul by altering his vocal style from that upfront hard intensity to a soothing, mellow background tone, and it ebbs and flows, making you feel like you're riding a wave. Sidebar note number 2. This ends side 2 of the vinyl LP, and it also ends this one of the CD project. Dropping these sidebars and to keep you on task.